Yes, a very good evening to all of you. No, we do have class today. Good evening, everyone. Hi, 𝗍𝗵𝗲. Good evening. Let's wait for others to join. Okay. So up till now, we have discussed all the 4 acts of the other laws part. Yes, we discussed Contract Act, Negotiable Instruments Act, the General Clauses Act. We finished interpretation of statutes. Yeah, last lecture we started the basics of Companies Act and we covered all the important provisions. Good evening, everyone. Ananya, Jinesh. Hi, Ravneet. How are you? Okay. So let us now continue. There was just one small part of memorandum and articles which was pending. So let us discuss that first. Okay, after this, I will discuss prospectus and allotment. This will get over very soon. So today's lecture is going to get over very soon. Okay. Hi, Syed. How are you? Venkat. Good evening. All familiar names. Great. I like your enthusiasm and your consistency. ऐसे ही पढ़ते रहो और आगे बढ़ते रहो. चलो. This time you have to score exemption in law. Yes? इस बार सबको exemption आना ही चाहिए. उस हिसाब से पढ़ेंगे. Okay. Let us discuss the provisions relating to memorandum and articles of association. Let's see how quickly we can complete today's session. Okay, let's see. आज एकदम मैराथन में करेंगे. चलो. Now, memorandum and articles. Yes, memorandum defines the scope of authority of the partners. कि partners company क्या काम कर सकती है. And how it is to be done. That is mentioned. The rules and regulations, they are mentioned in the articles. So I always tell my students कि company क्या काम कर सकती है, that is mentioned in the memorandum, and वो कैसे करना है, the rules and regulations, they are mentioned in the articles. So let's say that the company is authorized by the memorandum to borrow money. Okay, so company can borrow money, that is given in the memorandum, and the procedure for borrowing, the restrictions relating to borrowing, if any, that is mentioned in the articles. Yes, you have correctly pointed out. And it is the charter of the company. It determines the basic edifice of the company. It is the basic structure on which the company is formed. Name clause, yes. Now, what kind of questions can be asked? Mostly theory questions will be asked, and that too on the alteration part, because the clauses were already discussed in foundation. I don't think they will ask you questions on what is the name clause, what is the benefit, what is the use of office clause, but how to alter, that the procedure for alteration, that is very important for exam. So what is name clause? Yes, the company, the memorandum of a company contains various clauses. So I have mentioned it over here. We have the name clause, the registered office clause, the object clause, liability clause, association clause, and in case of OPC, the name of nominee will be mentioned in the memorandum. So these are the various clauses which are mentioned in the memorandum of every company. It's a public document. Yes, section 399. You pay 100 rupees and you will be able to view the memorandum and articles of any company. So it's a public document. Section 12 covers registered office. Correct. 12 and 13 also. So 13 basically determines the change of registered office. So name clause, yes, it is the name with which the company is to be registered. Name should not be undesirable. It should not resemble the name of an existing company. Yes. Use of certain words require approval of central government. So if you want to use words like, let's say, union, you want to use words like government, association, then you need the approval of the central government. And in case you are using words like nidhi or mutual fund, then you need to obtain the approval of the requisite authority also. That is covered under under Rule 8, 8A, 8B. So those rules are to be followed. Alteration, yes, very important. Now, why will one want to alter the name of the company? See, because sometimes what happens is that the objects of the company change. So now you want to change the name so that it reflects the object of the company. Okay, so objects of the company have changed. Objects have changed. So I want the name to resemble the objects of the company. So I alter the name. How do you know this? Life Insurance Corporation of India. How is it popularly known as? Yes, you know it as LIC. And how do you know Unit Trust of India? That is known as UTI. So sometimes the company is popularly known by its abbreviated name. So in that case, yes, in that case, so you may want to alter the name of the company. So what is the procedure? First, the board of directors will realize the need for altering the name clause. So the board of directors will propose, a special resolution will then be passed in the general meeting. Okay, first we will pass a board resolution. Then we will pass a special resolution. So special resolution will be passed in the general meeting, but to change the name, you also require the approval of the central government. So along with the special resolution, we will also obtain the approval of the central government for name change. Name change will not be allowed to the company which has defaulted in filing the annual return or the financial statements or repayment of matured deposits or debentures with interest. This is something on which they can ask you a case-based question. Okay, so they may say that the company has defaulted in complying with the provisions of repayment of deposits, they have not paid the debentures, or the financial statements have not been filed. Then in that case, the company will not be allowed to change the name. This can be asked as a case-based question. The approval of the central government is not required when? Yes, can you tell me, when is the approval of the central government not required? When the change is you're adding or deleting the word private. That happens in case of conversion. You're converting the private company into public company into private company. If that is the only change, then you need not seek the approval of the central government. Section 16, it is my prediction, it is my gut feeling that a question will be asked on section 16. So please mention this as important for exam, section 16. Now, what is mentioned in section 16? Section 16 says that if the company is not voluntarily changing the name, then the central government will give the order. And after receiving order from the central government, the company will have to alter the name. Now, I went to the company and requested them to alter the name because they are resembling the name of my existing company. But the company is not ready to alter the name. So let's say that that there's a company Tupperware. It is also a registered trademark. And I have registered a company as Tupperware. Okay. So it is a registered trademark of the company. They went and asked the newly registered company to alter the name. They are not ready to alter the name. Then we went to the central government. Central government will pass an order. And after that, the company will have to alter the name. So section 16 talks about compulsory name change. Company will have to alter the name. Okay, I'll just highlight the main points. Within 3 months by passing just an ordinary resolution. And you also need the approval of the central government. If the central government feels that the name of the company is either identical or it nearly resembles the name of an existing company. Suppose it receives a complaint from the trademark holder that, Arey, this is my registered trademark. How is the other company using it? Within 3 years, yes. The complaint will have to be filed within 3 years. Then in that case, again, the company will ask the newly registered company to alter the name and it will have to be altered within 3 months by passing just an ordinary resolution. New certificate of incorporation will be issued by the registrar in the new name, and only after receiving the certificate you can say that now the name change procedure is over. Okay, then we have the registered office clause. The registered office is a place where communications are made, the letters, documents, etc., notices are sent. you need a registered office within 30 days of incorporation. Okay, so it has to be established within 30 days of incorporation of the company, and you will also have to inform the ROC along with the documents that, see, we have registered the company and now we also have a registered office. This is the exact address of the registered office. In the memorandum, we only need to mention the name of state. Why is the exact address not mentioned in the memorandum? Law requires you to submit the exact address, to notify the exact address to the ROC. Why is only name of state mentioned? Why don't we mention the exact address? Yes, Sambhav, what you mentioned, that that is added through an amendment, that if you don't change, then the central government will yes, they will allot the name and ROC will issue a new certificate of incorporation in the new name. But yes, वो जबरदस्ती दे देगा. Later, you can go and alter the name after following the procedure of section 16. Only name of state is mentioned. Very good. So memorize कर लिया आपने section 10A. Okay. Exact address need not be mentioned. Why? Because what if I change from one office to the other office? Okay, what if I change from one building to the other building? I will have to alter the memorandum. So instead of doing that, we only mention name of the state. Exact address is then notified to the central government separately, to the ROC separately. Acha, change of registered office. See, if I am shifting from one building to the other building within the same state, city, village, town, then I need not trouble the shareholders. Okay, you're just shifting from one building to the other building. Just pass a board resolution, work is done. If you are altering from one city, town, village to the other city, town, village, but within the same ROC, then you need to approach the shareholders and ask for their approval by passing a special resolution. What is important for exam? We are shifting from one ROC to the other ROC. Okay, we are shifting from one ROC to the other ROC. Now, this is possible only in two states. One is Maharashtra, where the ROCs are present in Mumbai and Pune. Then we have in Tamil Nadu, where the ROC is present in Chennai and Coimbatore. Generally, it is one state, one ROC. But these are the two states wherein ROC is present at two places. Now you're moving from one ROC to the other ROC. You're moving from jurisdiction of one ROC to the other ROC. What is the procedure? See, first we also have the regional directors. There are 4 regions in India: North, South, East and West. So we have 4 regional directors. Okay, we have 4 regional directors. Now the ROCs of that particular region are under the regional director. If I'm shifting from Mumbai ROC to the Pune ROC, then I also need to seek the approval of the regional director. So I will make an application to the regional director. Regional director will give his approval. We will attach that approval and send it to the ROC. Okay, so we will first obtain a special resolution, pass a special resolution, obtain approval from the regional director, file the special resolution and approval with the ROC. ROC will then register and certify the change. This is to be filed with the ROC where we are shifting. So simple procedure: pass a special resolution, apply to the regional director, submit the special resolution and the approval of the regional director to the ROC. ROC will then register the change. See, corporate या head office may not be your registered office. So mostly they will ask on registered office only. Your registered office may be different from your corporate office or head office. So here we are shifting the registered office. I am not concerned where the corporate office is situated. Law is only concerned with the registered office because that is written in the memorandum. Okay, what if I am shifting from one state to the other state? Then I need to alter the memorandum. So here alteration will come. First step is to pass a special resolution, because you're shifting from one state to another. You need to pass a special resolution, and we will also have to obtain approval from the central government. Not only that, we also need to approach the creditors, the debenture holders, any person whose interest is likely to be affected, because we are moving from one state to the other. So we need their approval. So either you seek their approval or you give them an exit route. You tell them you take your money and you exit because we are shifting. So obtain approval from the shareholders, that we will do through special resolution. Obtain approval from debenture holders and other affected parties, or you settle their claim. So creditors, debenture holders, any other affected party, either obtain their approval or settle their claim. Obtain from ROC fresh certificate of incorporation indicating the alteration. So we are moving from one state to the other. The place where we are moving, वहाँ के ROC का हमको approval लेना पड़ेगा. What about the object clause? Object is the purpose for which the company is incorporated. Like the object of my company is, let's say, garment manufacturing. I can manufacture only garments. I cannot manufacture tires. If I manufacture tires, it will be considered as ultra vires. It will not be binding on the company. So here the company will not be liable to pay for the tires. You can enforce the contract against the directors, officers, etc. They will be personally liable. Corporate veil is lifted here. So objects are the main objects, the other objects which are required to accomplish the main objects. Acts which are beyond the object clause, they are ultra vires and hence void. They cannot be ratified even with the unanimous approval of each and every member. See, it is possible to ratify the articles because that is an internal document, but it is not possible to ratify the memorandum. Memorandum does not give you the authority to borrow money. So you cannot borrow money. Acha, I borrowed money and I went and took the approval of each and every member that I have borrowed money, please ratify. Ratification is not valid because it is ultra vires the memorandum. Here this case law is very important. You need to write the name of this case law if a question is asked on ultra vires. So please memorize the name of this case law. Ashbury Railway Carriage and Iron Company Limited versus Ritchie. So yes, you need to memorize the name of the case law. Achha, what if I want to alter the objects of the company? See, if you are a company which has raised money through prospectus, prospectus is issued means public is involved. Okay, so if the public is involved, let's say for example, I raised 100 crore rupees saying that I will utilize it for building commercial property. Okay, this is my purpose, building of commercial property. I have raised money 100 crore rupees for commercial property. Now, after COVID, there is a huge decline in the demand for commercial property because there are so many people who are working from home. There are so many people who are studying online. So even the classes don't need those big spaces. So because of that, the commercial property market has gone down. What I have decided is I have already utilized 40 crores for building the commercial property. I plan to utilize the balance 60 crore rupees for making residential because there is a huge demand now for residential property. See, you have obtained money saying that I will use it for commercial property. But now you are utilizing that money, whatever is unutilized, you are using for some objects other than the objects for which it was raised. So law requires that if you have some unutilized money and you are using it for some object other than for what it was raised, then you will first have to pass a special resolution. Yes, pass a special resolution. And that will be passed through postal ballot. This is the method of voting. It is a method of voting. We will also publish the notice in the newspaper that see we are altering the object of the company. Koi objection hai to abhi bata do. And we will place it on the website. See, there are people who say that we did not receive notice of the meeting. They will never say that we did not inform the company of change in the address. They will never say that. Acha, member ne apna address change kar diya. He did not inform the company. So company sent the notice at his old address. So for such people, we will also publish notice in the newspaper and we will also place it on the website of the company. So that they are aware about the change in the object. And if they want to withdraw or exit, then we give them an opportunity. We will give an exit opportunity to shareholders who do not give their consent. ROC will register and certify the alteration. Okay. Then this is not very important for exam, so we are not covering it now. Entrenchment, yes. Articles, they are the internal documents of the company. They are basically the rules and regulations of the company. Okay, so how will you alter the articles? See, alteration of articles is a simple procedure because you're altering your internal documents. So you can first pass a special resolution. Alteration is required when you're converting a private company into public into private company, because you need to either include or exclude the restrictions mentioned in the articles. Alteration of articles will also require approval of the central government. Central government's approval is not required when you are just including or excluding these provisions. Okay, that is to be filed with the ROC within 15 days. And the alteration, once registered, will be valid as if it was originally contained in the articles. It means you will have a retrospective effect. We will consider as if those provisions always existed in the articles. Yes. See, this is just one of the reasons, okay, when you may alter the articles. This is just one of the reasons. Alteration may include, it means it is just one of the reasons for alteration. Then there can be other reasons also. This is just one of the reasons. That is conversion of private to public to private. Okay. Entrenchment, please mark this as important for short note. Okay, please mark this as important for short note. And the example which I'm going to discuss with you, if a question is asked, it will 99% be that same example. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of entrenchment? Entrenchment means to make it more protective. Okay. To make something more protective. Let's say, for example, that Mr. A is one of the promoters and directors of a company. The company is basically a family-owned company. But now they are thinking of expanding. And for expansion, you need more capital. So Mr. A has now decided to obtain capital from the public, and he knows that if most of the shares get held by non-members, they may just pass a special resolution, that is 75% of the members, they may remove him from the position of a director. He may no longer have control over the company. So in the articles, he puts an entrenchment that if you want to remove me as the director of the company, you will require approval of 90% of the members present in the meeting. So he is making the requirement more protective. He is trying to ensure that nobody removes him. See, it is very unlikely that you will get 90% of the approval. And if you get 90% of the approval, it means people don't want him in the company. So over here, if he mentioned in the article that now only 90% of the members give their approval, only then they can remove me, that is known as entrenchment. So specific provisions of the articles, they may be altered to make it more restrictive, and the conditions and the provisions mentioned in the articles, they will be complied with only when those strict conditions are satisfied. So provisions relating to entrenchment may be made either at the formation of the company, okay, or it may be made by amending the articles later. In case of private company, these restrictions should be agreed by all the members of the company, and in case of public company, I can introduce the entrenchment by passing a special resolution. What about the shares held by a subsidiary? Okay, can a subsidiary company purchase shares of the holding company? No. What is important over here is where the subsidiary was already a shareholder even before it became a subsidiary. This is important. Questions may be asked on this. So let's say, for example, that S Limited was already holding, let's say, 1% shares in H Limited. Now S has become its subsidiary. Do we need to require the subsidiary to surrender those shares? Nothing is required. You can continue to remain the shareholder. You can continue to hold the securities of the company. You can also enjoy all the rights of members except voting rights. Okay, so you need to memorize this, that even if it was a subsidiary, Even if it was holding the shares before it became a subsidiary, it can continue to remain the member. You can also exercise all the rights of member except voting rights. Let us now discuss prospectus and allotment. Acha, can you tell me the kinds of prospectus? Can you tell me what are the kinds of prospectus? Can you list the kinds of prospectus for me? So the first kind is a deemed prospectus. Yes. Then we have, let me hide it for you. Yes, answer it. We have the deemed prospectus. We have shelf prospectus, red herring prospectus, and abridged prospectus. Yes, Ananya, correct. Shelf prospectus. We have deemed prospectus, red herring prospectus, and abridged prospectus. Now, what is a deemed prospectus? See, what would happen? Earlier, the company would either allot or agree to allot shares to an issue house. Now, this issue house is any public financial, it is any financial institution जिसका काम है to buy and sell the shares for companies. So, company would allot shares to the issue house, and issue house would then offer the securities to the public for sale. Both would avoid the issue of prospectus. Now, I'm not going into the meaning of prospectus, why it is issued. You already know all that. Okay, you already know that it is a public document inviting the subscription. What is important for exam? Types of prospectus. So since this is a rapid revision, let's go through the types of prospectus quickly. So the company would allot shares to the issue house. Both would avoid the issuing of prospectus. Company would say, I'm not going to the public. Why should I issue the prospectus? Issue house would say that these are not my shares. Why should I issue the prospectus? Both would avoid the issue of prospectus. So we became smart. Companies Act mentioned that, all right, issue house, you must be using some document, some kind of advertisement to offer the shares to public. Whatever document that you are using, you call it whatever name you want, circular, advertisement, paper, document, you call it whatever, you may call it by whatever name. Whatever document that you're using, we will assume that it is a prospectus issued by the company, and all the provisions of prospectus shall apply, even the provisions relating to misleading prospectus. So whatever paper, circular, advertisement, note, whatever they are using to offer shares to the public will be treated as if it is a prospectus issued by the company, and all the provisions of prospectus shall apply, including the provisions relating to misleading prospectus. So that is nothing but a deemed prospectus. Unless proved otherwise, such document will be treated as prospectus if it is shown that the securities were offered to the public for sale within 6 months of them being allotted or agreed to be allotted to the issue house. Now, when we went to the issue house and we complained that you have not issued the prospectus, they said, no, this is like our investment only. You can consider this as our investment. So then we argued that how come you are offering these shares to the public within 6 months? Who sells these securities within 6 months? Okay, so this was offered to the public within 6 months after they were allotted. It means it was a well-planned business activity. So they said, all right, we will offer after 6 months. So we became smarter. We said, or the whole consideration has not been received by the company. Now pay attention, students. If the company is allotting shares to the issue house, see, if you're selling the shares, you should receive money immediately. That is sale, no? And shares are goods. So if you are selling shares to the company, okay, you are selling shares to the company, to the issue house, they should have paid you immediately. Whole consideration has not been received by the company. Why so? That is because the issue house didn't have money. It was a well-planned activity. They were not buying shares. Let's say the company allotted shares of 5 crore rupees. Now, issue house will not spend its own 5 crore rupees. They will offer the shares to the public. When they get money, they will keep their commission and pay the remaining to the company. It means the company is not going to receive the money immediately on allotment. It is going to receive later when the issue house actually offers the shares to the public, when it gets money from the public. This is a well-planned business activity. you are trying to cheat us. Whatever document that you are using, that will be considered as if it is a prospectus issued by the company. See, we can come to know from your intentions that you are just trying to avoid the issue of prospectus. Okay, then what is the shelf prospectus? See, the word shelf indicates that this prospectus comes with a shelf life. Okay, it comes with a specific validity. Shelf prospectus is valid for a period of 1 year from the date of end of the first offer of securities. Now, why will somebody issue a shelf prospectus? See, I am a company that is required to offer securities multiple times in a year. It can happen in case of some bank or financial institution. They are offering securities multiple times in a year. Now, if you want me to issue prospectus for every public issue, yeah, it is a very tedious task and there is a lot of money involved. A lot of, see, you spend crores of rupees in marketing, in issuing the prospectus. And let me tell you that the information for 1 year is going to remain almost the same, na? My directors are not going to change in that 1 year. My auditors are not going to change. My bank is not going to remain the same. So why should I issue the prospectus again and again? So instead of issuing the prospectus, you have an option to go for shelf prospectus. Okay, so you can issue a shelf prospectus. It will be valid for 1 year. It is not calendar year. It is not financial year. 1 year will be from the date of the opening of the first offer of securities. Okay, so it will be valid for a period of 1 year from the first offer of securities. So let's say that I have offered securities for the first time. I issued a shelf prospectus. Then at the time of second, third, fourth offer, fifth offer, during that 1 year period, I need not issue a prospectus again and again. Then if I'm not issuing a prospectus, how will I inform the people who are investing at this stage about the changes in the company? See, there must inevitably be some financial change in the company. New charge may be created. There is some information which I want to inform the members. How will I inform them? In that case, I need to issue another document which is known as the information memorandum. Information memorandum is a document containing all the material. Material means important facts, changes relating to new charges created, changes in the financial position that have taken place between the first and second, second and third, third and fourth, fourth and fifth offer of securities. So if you are an investor and you want to invest, let's say at this stage, maybe at the third offer of securities, you will have to refer not only the shelf prospectus but also the information memorandum. Or I can say that you need to refer not only the information memorandum but also the shelf prospectus. Then we have the red herring prospectus. See, the word red actually shows danger. We are trying to attract the attention of the investors that this is an incomplete prospectus. See, if you are my chartered accountant and I tell you that I want to offer securities to the public, tell me at what price should I offer? You will tell me, ma'am, I don't know at what price you can offer. Because, see, we don't know what price will be accepted by the general public, right? So we are not very sure. How can we say? So what I do is I go to a lead manager. Okay, I go to a lead manager and he will guide me throughout the issue. So he will tell me what is the price at which I should offer securities and what is the price range. So what the lead manager does is they go to the people interested, investors, they go to them, they inquire at what price they are, the public is ready to purchase. So the public says that we will buy it from anywhere between 400 to 450. So this is the price band which I could, this is the price band which I could understand by interacting with the public. So this is the price range within which they are ready to invest in the securities. So the lead manager tells the company that you offer the shares between 400 to 450. So they have now offered, they don't know the exact price. Because they don't know the exact price, they don't know the quantum, they don't know the number of shares that they can offer. That information is not written in the prospectus. So it's an incomplete prospectus, not mentioning certain details. So that is what we want to tell them. See, we only have the price range. Investors, you tell us at what price you are ready to buy. So you will have to quote anywhere between 400 to 450. The price at which I receive the maximum applications, that will become my issue price. So let's say I receive the maximum applications at 450. So this becomes my issue price. I have my issue price. I can now find the number of shares, that is the quantum. I know the size that I'm going to issue. I know the price now. So now I can also decide the number of shares. Now that you have found the final number, you know the amounts, you are now in a position to file the final prospectus with the company. So fill the gaps, file the final prospectus with the ROC. So prospectus which does not include complete particulars, okay, so it does not include complete particulars of either the quantum, that is the number of shares, or the price at which they are included, then that incomplete prospectus is known as a red herring prospectus. At least it should be filed at least 3 days prior to the opening of the subscription list. Yes, the filing of prospectus with the ROC in case of red herring will be at least 3 days prior to the opening of the subscription list and offer. After you find the price, you know the issue price, you know the issue size, you know the number of shares, then you will have to file a final prospectus with the ROC. Abridged prospectus, yes. Abridged means it's a summary version of the prospectus. See, nobody has time to read everything, like how we are also doing rapid revision, because nobody has the time. Nobody has the time to go through the detailed prospectus. Thank you so much, just CA. Okay, so this summary version of the prospectus is known as abridged prospectus. It is open to the company. If they want to offer the full prospectus, fine. If you want to go for abridged prospectus, absolutely fine. But you have to keep the full prospectus ready for sunky shareholders who say, no, I don't want abridged prospectus, I want the full prospectus of the company. So memorandum, because there is no fixed format for it, but yes, we definitely provide certain details which have to be mentioned in the abridged prospectus. So it's just a memorandum containing such salient features of the prospectus as may be prescribed. Your module does not contain many points as far as abridged prospectus is concerned. So I don't think it will be asked in the exam. Your prospectus, even though it is abridged, should contain adequate disclosure. Now see, as an investor, what am I concerned with? I'm only concerned with what is the dividend that you're going to pay? What is the growth of the company? Who are the directors? What is the business of the company? And there are a few other things which I want to know. What is the share market trend? You know, what is your performance in the last 12 months? Who is your share transfer agent? These are few things which I want to know. I don't want to know anything other than that. I don't want to read stories. I don't want to read a 200-page prospectus. So give me a summary version. And after, along with the abridged prospectus, I will attach the application form. Read the prospectus, fill the form, submit it to the company. So it must be attached to every application form. A copy of the full prospectus must be furnished on request. So you have to keep the prospectus ready. If somebody requests it, you will have to give it. There are certain, yes, students, this is important for exam. It is asked in the exam. When is a prospectus not required to be issued? When is a prospectus not? When public is not involved, I'll not issue a prospectus. So when I'm issuing to underwriters, see, this is generally asked in combination with other theory questions, okay? It will never be asked as a standalone question. It will be asked in combination with others. So when I'm going to an underwriter, he already knows about the company. I don't need to issue a prospectus. Securities are not offered to the public. I go for private placement. Securities are offered to existing members only. This can be in case of rights issue or bonus. Rights or bonus. Yes. The securities are similar in all the respects. I have already issued a shelf prospectus. I have already issued a shelf prospectus. I need not issue a prospectus again and again. Everything is similar to the previous issue. And the securities are offered by private company. They will go for private placement. There is no need to issue a prospectus. Okay. Misleading prospectus. Yes. When is the prospectus misleading? There are 3 circumstances which you need to remember. Okay. 3. One is there is some misstatement in the prospectus. I'll give you examples for all. So there is some misstatement. You have either included something which is false, there is false inclusion, or there is some omission. Okay. Now, what is the misstatement? I have mentioned that, okay, I'll give you a detailed example. Now, the company has declared dividend in year 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the dividend. 20%, 18, 17, 15%. Will you invest in the securities of this company? No. The company is it is showing a clear declining trend. Why should I invest in the securities of this company? We know that the shareholders, after going through this information, will never purchase the shares of the company. Idea. Instead of giving information about individual dividend, I will give information about average dividend. Nobody will come to know that this is calculated using a declining trend. This misstatement in the prospectus will make the prospectus misleading. Inclusion, I have included that Mr. Mukesh Ambani has agreed to become the director of the company, whereas he had in fact only agreed to help me incorporate the company. But because of this information, people purchased the shares of the company at, let's say, 500 rupees. They thought that Mr. Mukesh Ambani is going to become the director of the company. The share price increased to 500 rupees. They bought at 500. But later, when this information turned out to be false, the share price crashed to, let's say, 100 rupees. Now, every shareholder suffered a loss of rupees 400. These damages, this compensation can be claimed from the company because the prospectus was misleading. You can hold the company as well as the directors, the officers who were involved in the issue of prospectus, you can hold them personally liable. Corporate veil can be lifted. Omission. Now, in my prospectus, I did not write that I have given dividend from capital profits instead of revenue profits. Okay. I have shown a clear trend. Okay. Like, let's say, for example, I have shown dividends as 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%. These are the actual rates of dividend. But I did not mention that this is given out of capital profit instead of revenue profit. This fact was not mentioned in the prospectus. The omission makes the prospectus misleading. See, you cannot use capital profits because they are not going to be earned every year. I may not earn this profit every year. Revenue profit is from regular business activity. So because this capital profit cannot be used for declaration of dividend, this omission makes the prospectus misleading. See, in both these cases, where there is misstatement, where there is omission, you are, through this misstatement and omission, you are making the outsider think that the company is a profitable one, that we are giving dividend. But the fact that it is only average dividend, it is calculated from a declining trend. The fact that it is given out of capital profit, that is not mentioned in the prospectus. So you are giving an impression to the outsider that the company is a profitable one. That is a false information. This will make the prospectus misleading. Now, students, please pay attention. Whenever a question is asked on misleading prospectus, okay, a question is asked on misleading prospectus, you have to compulsorily mention the definition. Okay, you have to write, no, it is not the definition, or you can say that you have to write the meaning. So what is a misleading prospectus, or when does the prospectus become misleading? You have to start your answer with this, be it a theory or a case-based question. Prospectus is misleading if it is misleading in the form and context in which it is included. It omits a material fact, and this will lead to people to misleading those who are acting on the faith of the prospectus. So you're misleading in the form, that is misstatement. This is what I explained, average dividend. And inclusion, okay, this is again I explained Mr. Mukesh Ambani wala example. Omission mein I explained the example of capital profits used for dividend instead of revenue profits. Now the liability may be either criminal liability or civil liability. Now, when will criminal liability be enforced? See, whether the act is civil or criminal depends on the mind, guilty mind, mens rea. If you have a guilty mind, we will apply criminal liability. Your intention was to cheat, then criminal liability will apply. And if there was no such intention, but unfortunately your prospectus turned out to be misleading, then in that case, we will apply civil liability. So in case of criminal liability, every person who authorized the issue of the prospectus will be liable for punishment under section 447. It's a criminal liability punishment for fraud. So you may be subject to imprisonment, fine, or both. Okay, now it may happen that you had given your consent to act as the director of the company, but after you came to know about the misstatement, you withdrew your consent. Then in that case, that director cannot be held liable. When you knew about the misstatement, you withdrew and make a public announcement that, see, my name is written, but I came to know about this misstatement. I'm withdrawing my consent. Then you won't be liable. Or if you feel that, it was such an immaterial thing, or I thought that this should be either included or omitted. I genuinely believe that it should be omitted. In certain cases, the director, promoter, or anyone who is involved in the issue of prospectus will not be liable. So company may, or director, proposed director, promoter, expert, they may be held liable for damages. Okay, civil liability here means you will be liable for damages. You won't be put in jail, but you will be liable for damages. You didn't have an intention to cheat. Mens rea was not there, but definitely other party has suffered loss on the faith of this prospectus. But yes, you can escape when you believed in the matter at the time of giving your consent, or you withdrew your consent to act as a director when you came to know about the misstatement and you gave a public notice that I have withdrawn my consent. Or the prospectus was issued without your knowledge and you gave a public notice that, see, listen, this was issued without my knowledge. I'm giving a public notice. I'm not liable. I was not aware of this misstatement. Okay, that finishes the chapter of prospectus. What is most important over here? There is one more provision which I would like you to prepare yourself for the exam. You can claim benefit under misstatement only when you have purchased the shares on the faith of the prospectus. Okay, you have to purchase shares on faith of prospectus. What if the person purchases shares from the open market, share market? You will not get the remedies of the misstatement in prospectus because you never purchased the shares relying on the prospectus. You purchased it from the open market. Peek versus Gurney. Okay. So the name of the case law is also important. Name of the case law is important. Mostly case-based questions are asked on this. Okay. From allotment, these statutory provisions, you can do it on your own. What is important is the provision of underwriting and private placement. Super duper important. Okay. Underwriting and private placement. So who is an underwriter? It's like an insurance policy that if in case of undersubscription, this person will purchase the securities and he's taking a lot of risk. So for undertaking that risk, he gets something known as underwriting commission. So it is a contract between the company and a certain person known as underwriter, under which the latter, that is underwriter, agrees to procure persons to apply for the securities of the company, and if they don't, he will purchase. What are the conditions to be satisfied for underwriting commission? The first thing is that it should be authorized by the articles. Okay. The name of the underwriter will be mentioned in the prospectus. Now, underwriting commission must be authorized by the articles. It can be paid. This is important for case-based questions. It can be paid either out of the proceeds of the issue. That is why you need to mention it in the prospectus. If you're going to use the money of the public, you need to inform them that, see, this is the commission that we are going to pay. and it will be from whatever money you are giving. It may be paid from the profit of the company, past profit of the company, or both. Okay, now it is to be authorized by the articles. It can be paid out of the proceeds of the issue, that is whatever you are raising through the public issue, or you can pay it out of past profits, or even both. What is the maximum limit? Yes, this is the maximum limit. In case of shares, it should not exceed 5% of the issue price or the amount or rate authorized by the articles, whichever is less. In case of debentures, it should not exceed 2.5% of the issue price of debentures or the amount or rate, whichever is less. So we don't want you to give more commission. Act or your articles, whichever is less. So this is important for case-based questions. It is also important for MCQ. Okay, important for MCQ and case-based questions. Underwriter's contract will also be filed with ROC at the time of filing the prospectus. His consent will be obtained for before issuing the prospectus. So there are other requirements also. Private placement, yes, very important for exam, mostly important for case-based questions, but theory can be asked. You need to memorize the entire section. The section number is important, provisions are also important. There are one or two provisions on which MCQ is asked. I'll just highlight that for you. Allotment, yes. This is very important for MCQ, simple MCQ, and also important for case-based MCQ. Okay, it is important for simple MCQ as well as case-based. Very, very important. You cannot just miss this. Okay, chalo. Now, what is the meaning of private placement? See, when you're very confident that you will be able to raise the money from the people whom you know, you're very confident that you need not go to the public. जितना पैसा चाहिए वो इन लोग से आ जाएगा. Then instead of going for public offer, you can go for private placement. And private companies के पास तो कोई option ही नहीं है. They have to go for private placement. So if this is one of the ways, it is one of the methods of issuing shares, we need to have proper procedures, right? So it is an offer of security or invitation to subscribe for securities, but this offer is given only to a select group of persons who are identified by the directors, and the list is also given in the board. It is given to the board in the board meeting that, see, this is the list of people to whom we are going to offer the securities. This is other than public offer. It is issued by way of private placement offer letter. See, in case of public offer, I issue the securities through the help of prospectus. Here it is through private placement offer. Can I say that when you go to the public, it is like a general offer? Yes, Sambhav, we are going to discuss questions also. Just let me finish with private placement. So I go to the public through the prospectus, and in case of private placement, I will go through the private placement offer letter. So that is a general offer. This is specific offer. How will I come to know whether it is public placement, public offer or private placement? See, pay attention, students. If the offer can be accepted by any person, not necessarily by the person to whom it is made, then it is public offer. कोई भी accept कर सकता है जिसको offer के बारे में पता है. But private placement तब होगा when it can be accepted only by the person to whom it is made. So it's like a specific offer. वही accept कर सकता है और कोई नहीं कर सकता. It can be made not to more than 200 people in a financial year. इसके ऊपर चला गया, it will be considered just like a public offer. This will exclude the offer made to qualified institutional buyers, QIBs. It will include that QIBs include insurance companies, mutual funds. It will not include the shares allotted to employees under the employee stock option. ठीक है. The company will issue the private placement offer and application to identified persons. Again, ये मेरे लिए important है कि ये सिर्फ identified persons को ही दिया जाएगा and nobody else. They will fill and submit the application along with the money, either by check or demand draft, any other banking channel, not by cash. इसके पीछे भी बहुत अच्छा reason है जो हम lectures में discuss करते हैं. So I have discussed this in my fast track lectures as well as regular lectures. There is a very good logic on why we have पहले allowed था but अभी नहीं. You cannot invest in the security. Even IPO वगैरह में you cannot invest through any other channels except the one specified. चेक डिमांड ड्राफ्ट से नहीं कर सकते प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट. एनी अदर बैंकिंग सॉरी चेक या डिमांड ड्राफ्ट से कर सकते हो. नेट बैंकिंग चैनल लाइक असबा वगैरह से कर सकते हो, बट नॉट बाय कैश. ओके, नॉट बाय कैश. ऑलराइट. Money, whatever you have received through private placement, will be kept in a separate bank account with a scheduled bank. It will not be utilized unless the allotments are made, and the return of allotment is filed with ROC within 15 days from allotment. See, the provisions relating to return of allotment, minimum subscription, etc., whatever you discussed, they were applicable and they were covered under section 39. Okay, so section 39 and section 42, these are two very different sections. Section 39 applies when you go for public offer of securities. So that is why the provisions are very different. Okay, this is for public offer. Section 39 applies in case of public offer. Whereas section 42, it covers provisions relating to private placement. So even though return of allotment is to be filed for private placement as well as public offer, the provisions are different. Okay. Allotment, yes, very important for exam. The allotments of under private placement should be made within 60 days from receipt of the application money. And if the company fails to allot, they will repay the application money within 15 days from the expiry of 60 days. So it means I received the application money. So within 60 days from receipt of the application money, I need to allot. And if I fail, then from the 61st day, I will calculate. Within 15 days, I need to return the money. And if the company does not repay the money within the prescribed period, it will be made to repay the money along with interest at the rate of 12% per annum from the calculated from the expiry of the 60th day. It means the interest will be calculated from the 61st day. So please note that this is very important for MCQ. Private placement, yes, this was also asked in the past exam as MCQ only. It shall not carry a right of renunciation. Renunciation means I don't want to buy the shares, but my friend wants to. I don't want to, but my family member wants to. No, it's a specific offer. It can be accepted only by the person to whom it is made. Rights offer. Okay, when you go for rights offer of securities, that carries a right of renunciation. If you don't want, you can tell somebody else they will buy the shares. That you can renounce in favor of some other person. But not in case of private placement. Okay, any offer in contravention with this section will be considered as a public offer, and all the provisions of a public offer will apply. All right, students. So this was allotment, prospectus and allotment. Now I'll go through the important questions that are generally asked on this part. This is incorporation of the company and matters incidental. Okay. Let's go through the question answers for prospectus. Now, if you notice, students, I'm not discussing any particular question over here. I just want you to be aware of the types of questions, because mostly 90% of the times a theory question is asked. There is only one or two sections on which a case-based question is asked. I will highlight that for you. So, what is a shelf prospectus? Okay, provisions relating to shelf prospectus, theory question. Then we have, okay, a question on underwriting commission is asked as a case-based question. Private placement, yes, section 42, private placement. Minimum amount stated in the prospectus, application money, again a theory question is asked. When are the directors not liable? Theory question, okay. Is the director liable? What are the circumstances when the director is not liable? Circumstances where expert is not liable, theory question. Again a question on underwriting commission. Very simple questions are actually asked on underwriting commission, but it's a very standard way of asking. Now, the articles provide that the underwriting commission may be paid up to 4% of the issue price of the shares. However, the board want to pay 5%. There is no change in the type of questions they ask. Every year they will ask same question. See, previously also they had asked. Can you tell me the articles they want, they allow only commission at the rate of 4%, but the directors want to issue shares at 5% rate of commission. So you tell me at what rate can we, what is the rate that we can give to the underwriters? What is the rate of commission? 4% or 5%? Exactly, they can give only 4%. So the rate mentioned in the mentioned in the articles or the act, whichever is less. Whichever is less. Guys, there is one question which I want you to do it from the module. Okay. Please write the concept which you need to study. Irregular allotment. This is one question which is not explained as a theory in the module. It is given in the question answer section. Okay, it is given as a question answer. What is irregular allotment? When is allotment considered to be irregular? Okay, so when is the allotment irregular? So please study this from the module. I had done a detailed video on this, so you can refer that. Currently, there is no section on irregular allotment. It was there in 1956 Act, but in 2013 there is no section. When is the allotment irregular? See, in case the information as required in the prospectus is not mentioned, or you don't issue a prospectus at all, you have not filed the prospectus with ROC, and you have made allotments. The minimum subscription is not received and you have made allotments. So these are certain circumstances where the allotment is irregular. There is no section, कोई अलग से section नहीं है. What are the repercussions? मतलब कि अगर allotment irregular हो गया तो क्या penalty लगेगी? What is the penalty involved? Instead of giving it in one section, we have given it separately in the section concerning the irregularity itself. Now let's say for example कि अगर minimum subscription नहीं मिला और फिर भी आपने allotment कर दिए, what is the punishment? Then that is covered in section 39. Okay, you have issued, you have allotted the shares without issuing the prospectus. तो उसके क्या repercussions है वो section 23 में ही लिखा है. Return of allotment file नहीं किया, मेरे को क्या penalty लगेगी? That is mentioned in the section itself, section 39. So instead of instead of mentioning just one blanket provision, we have now included the implication in the respective section itself. ठीक है, तो ये आपको बाय हार्ट करके जाना है. irregular allotment, एग्जैक्ट आंसर आपको यही लिखना है जो मॉड्यूल में दिया है. ऑल राइट स्टूडेंट्स, सो irregular allotment वो अंडरराइटिंग वाला एग्जाम्पल, अंडरराइटिंग वाला क्वेश्चन. Again, mostly theory question is asked. What is the meaning of private placement? What is the time for allotment? What is repayment of application money in case of default in allotment? So if you see, mostly theory questions are asked. What is abridged prospectus? Under what circumstances is abridged prospectus not required to be issued? So I had told you that what are the circumstances wherein either a prospectus or an abridged prospectus is not required is never asked as a standalone question. It will always be asked in combination. MCQ संभव आई एम प्लानिंग टू डू इट सेपरेटली, अलग से सेशन करूंगी उसके लिए. आई डोंट वांट टू क्लब इट विद दिस. ओके, चलो. सो गाइज, दीज वर द टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट कैन बी आस्क्ड ऑन prospectus and allotment. This was from my compiler, which can be purchased from my website Theory Masters Learning. This, I don't call it as a compiler now. मैंने इसका नाम अभी चेंज कर दिया है, मैंने इसका नाम रख दिया है एग्जेम्पशन मास्टर। मेरा थ्योरी मास्टर्स और ये मेरा एग्जेम्पशन मास्टर है। इफ एग्जेम्पशन का एम रखते हो तो क्वेश्चन आंसर इज द ओनली वे through which you can score exemption. So for me, it is no longer a compiler, it has now become an exemption master. So generally what happens is that mujhe students, when they call me also, no, they say that ma'am we want to get exemption. Sometimes I wonder यार तू पढ़ाई नहीं कर रहा है और तेरे को exemption की पड़ी हुई है। वो एकदम उसने मुझे टेस्ट पेपर भेजा अपना, एकदम सो लिखा है and you want exemption. So that is why I was wondering why is everybody running for exemption rather than working on this. तो मैंने बैठ के ना फिर एक डिटेल एनालिसिस बनाया विच आई विल शेयर विद यू ऑल्सो लेटर, दैट लॉ में एग्जाम्शन लाने के लिए देर आर सर्टन थिंग्स विच यू नीड टू फॉलो एंड वन इज क्वेश्चन आंसर सॉल्विंग. तो मैं उनको यही बोलती थी भाई तेरे पेपर में से लग नहीं रहा दैट यू आर सॉल्विंग क्वेश्चंस, कंपाइलर कर ले एग्जाम्शन आ जाएगा. एंड व्हाट इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ गेटिंग एग्जाम्शन? लिसन, सपोज अकाउंट्स एंड लॉ इज योर स्ट्रॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट, ठीक है, एंड उसमें इफ यू गेट मोर देन 60 मार्क्स, सो फॉर द ग्रुप यू नीड लेट्स से अराउंड 200 मार्क्स. तो अगर आपको 120 इसी में से आ जाता है, सो देन इवन इफ यू गेट पासिंग मार्क्स इन अदर टू सब्जेक्ट 40-40, सो यू आर कवर्ड ना 50 मार्क्स इन ईच ग्रुप इन ईच सब्जेक्ट. बट आपको लगता है यार इसमें तो मिलेगा ही नहीं मेरे को 50-40 तो मिल जाएगा ना. So if you want to compensate law and accounts, these are the only two subjects जिसमें exemption ला सकते हो. And exemption लाने का एक ही तरीका है, more and more question answer solving. So यही ट्रिक है, बाकी कोई ट्रिक नहीं है. एक तो आपकी पहले तो what I feel is पहले तो theory पक्की करो यार. First your concept should be clear, then you should go for question answer solving. Don't take the shortcut. ठीक है, तो पहले theory पक्की करो. And for theory you can go for the fast track lectures which are again available on my website 𝗟𝗵𝗲learning.com. theory पक्की करो, उसके बाद questions करो. So go through the fast track lectures. I have shared the link. If you have any doubt, feel free to contact me. My number is given on the website. And I will meet you tomorrow again at 7 p.m. We will start discussing one very important chapter for exam, share capital and debentures. ये एक lecture में नहीं होगा. We will have to take 2 lectures at least. But I will try to cover all the important concepts important for exam. ठीक है students? So tomorrow again I will meet you at 7 p.m. Hit the bell icon and subscribe ताकि आपको पता चल जाए कि lecture कितने बजे होने वाला है. Maybe 1 or 2 days the timing will change. We may meet at 8 o'clock or 8:30 something like that. थोड़ा late होगा. But keep following this channel for notifications. Hit the bell icon. And also visit my website 𝗟𝗵𝗲learning.com. ठीक है. So students, I hope कि आपका concept clear होते जाएगा. This chart book can be purchased from my website. So chart book and compiler, you'll be sorted. Yes. चलो bye bye guys. I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Take care. Good night.